Have you ever felt like you just don't fit in? Like you see through people's fake smiles, their games, and their lies? If that sounds like you, then listen closely, because you might be part of the 0.1%, the rare ones, the chosen ones. See, when you stop caring what others think, when you stop chasing approval and start walking in your own power, you shake people, especially the ones who try to control you. And guess who that is most of the time? Narcissists, people who want attention, control, and to always be right. But when they meet someone like you, someone who gives 0 FKs, it drives them crazy. Why? Because you're not easy to fool. You don't play their games. You're calm, focused, and you see right through them. That makes you powerful and dangerous, but in the best way. In this video, we're going deep into the mindset of the 0.1%. You'll learn why narcissists get scared when you stop reacting, why silence can be your strongest weapon, and how walking away without a word can shake a whole room. So hit that like button to show some love and join our community of real ones who are done being played. Make sure to stay till the end, because what you'll hear might just shift your whole mindset. This is not just a video. This is a wake-up call for the chosen ones who are ready to take their power back. Let's begin. Most people live their lives trying to fit in. They follow the crowd, copy what others do, and stay quiet just to be accepted, but not you. You were never meant to blend in. From the start, you felt different. Your thoughts, your energy, your way of seeing the world, it never matched the people around you. And that's not a mistake. That's your gift. You weren't made to follow the path. You were made to break it. People like you confuse others. You're not easy to read. You don't react the way they expect. When someone tries to control you, you don't fight or beg. You simply walk away. That kind of strength isn't normal to them. It shakes them. It makes them feel powerless. Here's the truth. Narcissists fear people like you. They don't know what to do with someone who won't fall into their trap. They can't handle someone who doesn't need their praise, doesn't care about their games, and doesn't feed their ego. You're unpredictable. They can't guess your next move. You're uncontrollable. They can't push your buttons. You're unstoppable. They can't slow you down. And that makes you a storm they can't stand in. The world teaches us to stay quiet, stay small, and play nice. But you were never built for that. You were built to rise, to speak, to walk in your truth, even when it makes others uncomfortable, especially when it makes others uncomfortable. You are here to challenge everything fake, everything broken, and everything that keeps people stuck. Your presence alone is a reminder that true power comes from within, not from fame, not from followers, not from fear. So walk in that truth, own your difference. You weren't born to fit the mold, you were born to shatter it. The 0.1% energy is rare. Most people in the world are busy trying to fit in, be liked, and please everyone around them. They change themselves just to be accepted. They hide their true thoughts. They stay quiet when they want to speak. They follow the crowd, even when they know it's wrong, just so they won't be alone. But then, there's you. You're part of the few, the ones who don't need approval to feel powerful. You don't shape your life around what others want. You've stopped trying to make everyone happy. And that makes you dangerous in the best way. This is what the 0.1% energy looks like. You trust your gut even when no one agrees. You speak your truth even if your voice shakes. You say no without guilt. You walk away from fake people even if it means being alone for a while. You know your value and you don't let anyone lower your worth. That's called inner power. It doesn't come from money, looks, or fame. It comes from knowing who you are and refusing to shrink. Here's the hook. You've tapped into something most people never will. You don't just follow the world, you face it. You don't ask for permission to shine, you just do. That's why others either deeply respect you or secretly fear you. Narcissists especially can't stand this energy. Why? Because their power only works on people who doubt themselves. And you You stopped doubting a long time ago. This is elite-level energy. It's quiet, steady, and real. It doesn't need to prove itself. It just is. So keep standing tall. Keep walking in your truth. You're not part of the 99.9% who follow. You're part of the 0.1% who lead. Narcissists love control. It's how they feel powerful. They play mind games, twist stories, and make others feel guilty just to stay in charge. They smile while they lie, and they act kind while they slowly break others down. Most people don't notice it at first. They fall into the trap, hoping. There's a powerful truth you need to grasp. You're not here to be liked. The world has spent so much time trying to make everyone fit into boxes, trying to force people into molds that society deems acceptable. But you, the chosen one, were never meant to fit in. You were born to stand out, to challenge the status quo, and to shine your light in a way that forces the world to adjust to your frequency, not the other way around. When you realize this, you stop worrying about how others perceive you. You stop living for the approval of people who will never truly understand your purpose. The moment you stop seeking validation from others, you give yourself the freedom to truly express who you are. Without hesitation, without apology, you become unapologetically you. Your light is your superpower. It's the energy that others can't ignore, the presence that fills a room without you even saying a word. People may try to dim your shine or make you feel like you're too much, but you know better. You understand that your purpose is far greater than being liked. You are here to make an impact, to inspire, and to show others that it's okay to be different, to walk their own path, and to live according to their own truth. The world will try to force you to shrink, to conform, to play small. But the moment you understand that you're not here to be liked, you stop shrinking. You stop trying to fit into spaces that weren't meant for you. You start to shine in spaces where others are too afraid to stand out. You create your own path, and those who resonate with your energy will gravitate toward you naturally. And the best part, you don't have to chase anyone's approval. People will either rise to meet your frequency or they will fall away. And that's okay. Not everyone is meant to be in your life forever. Your energy is a reflection of who you are, and only those who are aligned with it will truly appreciate your light. The rest will simply fade into the background because your energy is too strong, too authentic, too powerful for anyone to manipulate. You're not here to blend in with the crowd. You're here to shine, to lead by example, and to encourage others to step into their own greatness. Let the world adjust to your frequency, not the other way around. Stand tall, speak your truth, and shine brighter than ever. Because the world needs your light, and it will have no choice but to recognize and respect it. The time for playing small is over. It's your time to shine. Your light is not a mere flicker, it's a blazing force that ignites everything it touches. And when you fully embrace this power, you start to realize something incredible. You were never meant to hide your light. The world, with all its noise and distractions, has conditioned many to believe that standing out is dangerous. But for you, standing out is your true calling. It's your purpose. It's your destiny. The energy you exude is like a beacon. It doesn't need to compete for attention. It doesn't need to beg for recognition. The right people will notice you and the wrong ones will fall away, unable to match your frequency. They might try to bring you down, challenge you, or make you doubt yourself. But here's the thing, their opinions don't matter. Their limited perspective cannot affect your trajectory. You are not here to play small. You're here to expand, to influence, and to leave your unique mark on the world. When you stop trying to fit in, you free yourself from the chains of comparison and expectation. The constant worry about what others think fades away. Instead, you become centered in your own truth, understanding that your value is inherent and not dependent on anyone's approval. And that's the moment you step into your true power. You stop being a chameleon, adapting to the colors of others, and instead you become the vibrant force that inspires others to reveal their authentic selves. This shift from seeking acceptance to owning your truth is a game changer. You stop watering yourself down for the comfort of others. You stop pretending to be less than you are just so others feel better about themselves. Instead, you rise in your full magnificence, knowing that the world needs what you have to offer. You are a creator, a change maker, someone who was born to light up the dark corners of this world and show others that it's okay to shine unapologetically. And here's the most powerful truth of all: when you embrace your light, you give others permission to do the same. You inspire those around you to stop playing it safe, to stop dimming their own brilliance, and to step into their own divine power. Your confidence, your unwavering faith in your own worth, becomes a magnet for people who are ready to rise alongside you. Together, you form a collective of powerful, unstoppable beings who are no longer afraid to take up space in this world. Never settle for less than what you are worth. That was your moment of realization, or your soul chose royalty, and you embraced it fully. You understood that you don't have to beg for respect or love. You don't have to sit at a table where you're not valued. You have the power to choose your environment, your people, and your path. Leaving behind the toxicity wasn't an act of weakness. It was an act of strength and self-respect. The world may not have recognized your crown right away, but it didn't matter. You knew who you were. You knew you were destined for something greater. You chose to walk away from everything that kept you small and into a future where you reign supreme, with your head held high and your heart at peace. In that moment, you stopped looking back because you knew there was nothing left for you in the past. You were no longer chasing anyone's approval or love. You had become the queen or king of your own life, and nothing would ever change that. There's a certain peace that comes from knowing your worth and understanding that you don't have to prove it to anyone. Protecting your peace has become non-negotiable, a sacred practice you live by. Once, you might have felt the need to explain yourself, defend your choices, or engage in arguments to make others understand where you're coming from. You might have spent countless hours trying to get your point across, only to feel exhausted, misunderstood, and drained. But you've evolved. You've realized that your peace is far more valuable than getting into petty debates or defending your actions to people who don't deserve your time or energy. Now you understand that peace isn't something you should negotiate. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. The more you protect it, the more you preserve your inner balance and the strength to stay true to yourself. You don't need to argue with people who thrive on conflict. Their drama is theirs to handle, not yours. You've learned that some people will never understand your perspective, and that's okay. The need to win every argument or prove yourself to everyone is something you've let go of. Instead, you've chosen to remain calm and centered, knowing that your peace is more important than validation or approval. You don't defend yourself because you don't need to. Your actions, your choices, and your values speak for themselves. You know who you are, and you stand firm in that truth. When negativity comes your way, you don't take the bait. You simply detach from it. You've learned that giving in to toxic energy only drains you and pulls you further away from your own peace. Your energy is sacred, and you've come to treat it as such. You don't let people or situations invade your space without permission. You've established boundaries, both with yourself and others, ensuring that only positivity, growth, and love are allowed to enter your life. When something or someone threatens that balance, you don't hesitate to walk away or shut it down. Protecting your energy isn't a task, it's a lifestyle. This journey of self-awareness and self-care has taught you that you can still be compassionate, loving, and open while protecting your peace. But you've also learned that you can walk away from negativity without guilt. Protecting your peace is non-negotiable because when you protect your energy, you protect your ability to create, to love, and to live a life aligned with your true purpose. You've learned that peace isn't just something you seek. It's something you create and fiercely protect. And that's the secret to thriving in a world that constantly tries to steal your joy. There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, but understanding that line is a game changer. Confidence isn't about boasting or trying to elevate yourself above others. It's not about being cocky or pretending to know everything. True confidence is rooted in awareness, awareness of your own worth, your strengths, your boundaries, and the power that lies within you. Knowing who you are and what you bring to the table doesn't make you arrogant, it makes you impervious to manipulation. When you truly understand your value, you stop seeking external validation. You no longer need to prove yourself to others because you already know your worth. It's as though you've reached an inner knowing that no one can shake. And this is where confidence, born from self-awareness, sets you apart from the rest. The more you recognize your inherent value, the less likely you are to fall prey to people who seek to take advantage of you. Too often, society confuses confidence with arrogance. Arrogance, in its truest form, is rooted in insecurity. It's the need to appear superior, to put others down, and to boost one's fragile ego. But true confidence is different. It's grounded in humility and the understanding that everyone has their own unique worth. Confident people don't need to make others feel small to feel big. Reactions they so desperately crave, the more they start to lose their grip. Narcissists need chaos to survive. Without it, they begin to unravel. The silence you give them forces them to face the emptiness they try so hard to mask. And the distance you create makes them realize they no longer have a hold on you. This drives them mad. They can't understand why you're not reacting, why you're not begging for their approval or validation, why they can't provoke you. And that confusion only makes them more desperate. By denying them the energy they thrive on, you break their cycle of control. You starve them of the very thing they need to feel powerful. And when you do this, you regain your own power. You've become immune to their games, and the more they try to reel you in, the less they succeed. Their world is built on manipulation, but you've learned that true strength is in your ability to remain calm, detached, and centered. The narcissist may try to disrupt your peace, but they can't do so if you refuse to give them anything to feed on. They expected you to stay down. They thought your struggles would define you, that your pain would be your identity. When you were knocked down, they believed that was the end, that the weight of your hardships would crush you and keep you stuck in a place of despair. They thought you'd remain broken, just like so many others who have been through similar battles. But what they didn't expect was your resilience. What they didn't see coming was the shift. The moment you decided to stop being defined by your circumstances, you didn't stay broken, you transformed. The pain you went through didn't destroy you, it forged you. It built you into someone stronger, someone wiser, and someone who could face the world with a new sense of purpose. You shed the old version of yourself, the one that was trapped in fear, doubt, and limitation. You stepped into a new version of yourself, one that is confident, capable, and unshaken by the storms of life. And that shift? It wasn't just a change in mindset, it was a full elevation of your being. You left behind the self-doubt, the insecurities, the stories you once told yourself about not being enough. Instead, you embraced your true power. You found your voice, your strength, your unbreakable spirit. You understood that no matter how many times life tried to knock you down, you had the ability to rise. And with each rise, you grew stronger, more aligned with who you truly are. What they didn't expect was that rather than staying in a victim mentality, you chose to evolve. You took the pain and used it as fuel to elevate yourself to new heights. They thought you'd remain stuck, but you proved them wrong. They underestimated your power. They thought you were finished, but you were just getting started. Now, you walk with a quiet confidence, a grounded energy that exudes strength. Your past doesn't haunt you, it empowers you. You are no longer the person who felt defeated by life. You are the person who has transcended, who has taken everything thrown at you and turned it into a powerful force for growth. You have risen from the ashes, more radiant than ever, and nothing will ever take that from you. The old version of yourself is gone, and in its place stands a person who is untouchable, unstoppable, and fully in control of their destiny. That's the shift they never expected, and it's the one that will leave them in awe. There's a moment in life when you realize that you've outgrown the situations that used to hold you back. For so long, you were stuck in cycles, constantly giving your energy to people and situations that didn't deserve it. You were subjected to gaslighting, manipulation, and emotional games, trying to find your place or make sense of the chaos. But then one day, you reached a point of no return. You looked around, saw the table where you were constantly being invalidated, dismissed, or lied to, and something inside of you clicked. It wasn't a dramatic exit, it wasn't a loud confrontation or a big fight. It was quieter than that. It was the realization that you didn't need anyone's permission to walk away. That moment you stood up, turned away, and walked out of that room without looking back. Wasn't just an escape. It was a coronation. You were stepping into your power, into your worth, into your divine right to be treated with respect and dignity. Walking away from that table wasn't just about leaving people behind, it was about leaving behind the old version of yourself, the version that was too afraid to walk away, too worried about others' opinions, and too caught up in toxic patterns. That moment marked the end of your silence, the end of tolerating the intolerable, and the end of waiting for others to value you the way you knew you deserved. And when you walked away without a second glance, you claimed your crown. You chose to honor yourself, to stand tall in your truth, and to others. You care deeply, but you've learned how to love and support without losing yourself in the process. Emotional independence allows you to offer love and compassion freely, without expecting anything in return. You can stand in your power, knowing that your worth is not tied to someone's opinion of you or their treatment of you. You're not emotionally hooked. You're emotionally free. When you stand in emotional independence, you hold a quiet, unshakable power. You cannot be manipulated, controlled, or used. Your mental strength is your shield, and it makes you nearly untouchable. This is the ultimate freedom. The freedom to be who you are without needing anyone's approval, without being influenced by anyone's negativity, and without being dragged into anyone else's emotional chaos. Once you might have reacted impulsively, driven by emotions that were out of your control. Every little thing set you off. Every harsh word, every challenge, every change. They all triggered an automatic response. You were living on the edge of your emotions, constantly battling the world around you. It was exhausting, but then something changed. You realized that the key to true power isn't in reacting to everything, but in responding with intention and calm. This shift was subtle but profound. Now, you're no longer the person who jumps into chaos at the first sign of tension. You've learned to pause, breathe, and assess the situation before you even think of making a move. You don't let emotions dictate your actions anymore. Instead, you respond with wisdom, calmness, and strength. Your energy is no longer scattered, reacting to every external force. It's grounded, focused, and deliberate. This transformation didn't happen overnight. It came from facing challenges head-on and learning from them. It came from understanding that you don't have to engage in every battle, that your energy is precious and must be protected. You've spent time reflecting, healing, and developing a deep sense of self-awareness. You've trained yourself to not get caught up in the noise, to not let negativity or drama pull you off course. You've become the calm in the storm. You've embraced the role of the unbothered warrior, someone who knows their worth, who stands firm in their beliefs, and who doesn't allow the external world to dictate their internal peace. You are like a master chess player, thinking several moves ahead, always staying calm, calculated, and poised. You've learned that being unbothered doesn't mean being indifferent. It means choosing where you invest your energy. You've mastered the art of discernment, knowing when to step in and when to step back. You don't waste time on petty conflicts or irrelevant distractions. You keep your focus on what truly matters. Your inner strength has grown. You're no longer rattled by the storms of life. You know that, just like the waves crashing on the shore, all things, both good and bad, pass. The difference now is that you've become the force of nature that rises above the waves, unshaken, unbroken. The world can throw anything at you, but it no longer bothers you. Your energy is yours to command. You are the calm within the chaos. The warrior who walks through fire but is never burned. You have mastered your energy, and in doing so, you've become unstoppable. Narcissists thrive on drama, manipulation, and control. They feed on the energy of those around them, seeking to provoke reactions, stir up conflict, and assert their dominance. They crave attention, whether positive or negative, because it fuels their ego. The moment they sense weakness, they zero in, ready to exploit it. They want you to be reactive, emotional, and constantly engaged in their games. But here's the thing, you don't play their game anymore. You've learned the most powerful way to starve a narcissist, by refusing to give them what they need most, your energy. When they try to draw you into their chaos, you give them distance. You don't react to their provocations. You don't engage in their attempts to stir up drama. Instead of getting caught up in their emotional storms, you stand back, calm and composed. Your absence speaks volumes, and it drives them wild. They can't control you when you refuse to give them the reaction they crave. When they seek control, you give them silence. Narcissists want to manipulate conversations, twist your words, and bend reality to suit their narrative. They thrive on having the upper hand in every interaction, but silence is your weapon. You don't try to explain yourself, defend your position, or get into endless arguments. You let your silence be your response. By refusing to give them a voice in your world, you strip them of their power. Narcissists can't handle being ignored. They can't stand it when their attempts to manipulate and control are met with nothing but calm, unbothered stillness. The more you starve them of the attention, drama, and is enough to expose everything false around you. Keep shining, keep reflecting. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to wake people up. There's power in silence that most people don't understand, especially those who thrive on chaos, drama, and control. Silence isn't weakness, it's a weapon. When you choose silence, you stop feeding the fire of nonsense. You stop giving attention to things that don't deserve it. And that alone is enough to throw others off balance. It's one of the most powerful ways to reclaim your energy, your peace, and your strength. You don't chase, you don't plead for attention, you don't beg for understanding. The people who truly matter will know your worth without needing to hear it from you constantly. And those who don't, well, your absence will speak louder than anything you could say. By stepping back, you send a clear message. I don't need you to validate me. I don't need to explain myself. I don't need to engage in this drama. Your silence is a choice to protect your boundaries, to stand firm in your truth, and to preserve your peace. When you withdraw from a situation, it's like dropping a stone in still water. The ripples start to spread. The silence fills the room with a power that words can never create. People who thrive on manipulation, guilt, or constant reassurance are thrown off by your refusal to play into their games. You don't give them the satisfaction of a response, and that confuses them. They expect you to react, to fight back, to prove your worth. But when you don't, they're left facing their own discomfort. Sometimes the loudest thing you can do is nothing at all. Silence becomes the ultimate weapon when you understand that not every battle is worth fighting. Not every argument is worth engaging in. By holding your peace, you demonstrate that you value your time and energy more than the need for conflict. It shows that you know who you are, and you don't need to defend yourself against the opinions or accusations of others. It also gives you control. You're not letting anyone dictate your emotions or responses. When people see that they can't provoke you, they start to realize that you're not the one who needs to change. They do. And that's when the power shifts. They start to second-guess their actions. They start to wonder why you're no longer affected. Your silence forces them to confront their own behavior. So when others try to draw you into their drama or force you into an explanation, remember this: your silence is a strength. It's your way of showing that you're not desperate for attention, validation, or approval. You let your absence speak louder than any argument ever could, and that's where your real power lies. Emotional independence is one of the most powerful traits you can possess. It's the ability to stand firm in who you are without being swayed by the opinions, actions, or moods of others. When you have emotional independence, you are no longer tethered to the expectations or judgments of the people around you. You've learned to operate from a place of internal stability, not depending on external validation to feel good about yourself. You don't need their approval, and that's what sets you apart. Many people spend their lives seeking approval from others, whether it's from family, friends, colleagues, or even strangers on social media. They shape their thoughts, actions, and self-worth around the approval they think they need. But you've learned that true power lies in releasing that need. You've stopped seeking validation from others because you've realized something profound. You don't need anyone's permission to be who you are. You are already enough, just as you are. Not being emotionally hooked means you can stay calm and clear-headed, even in the most intense situations, where others might react out of fear, insecurity, or desperation for approval. You remain grounded. You no longer let the actions or words of others define your emotional state. When people try to manipulate you with guilt trips, passive-aggressive behavior, or emotional blackmail, you don't bite. You don't get caught up in their drama because you've built the strength to stay unaffected. You've mastered the art of emotional detachment, not in the sense of being cold or uncaring, but in knowing that your peace cannot be disrupted by someone else's turmoil. And that is exactly what others can't stand. It's the one thing they can't manipulate. When people see that they can't control your emotions, they start to lose their power over you. They may try to push your buttons, say things to provoke a reaction, or test your limits, but you've learned not to let those things get to you. Your emotional independence is the boundary that no one can cross. They may try to shake you, but they can't break you because your strength doesn't come from the outside world. It comes from within. This doesn't mean you don't care about pain, not avoiding it. This is why you stand out from the masses. While many are still running from their truth, you're out here living yours. And people feel that energy. They may not understand it, but they respect it or fear it, because nothing is more powerful than a soul that has faced darkness and chose to rise anyway. From trauma to transcendence, that's your story. Not just a survivor, not just a warrior, but a living example of what happens when pain becomes purpose, when wounds become wisdom, when the broken becomes unbreakable. And that's why you're the 0.1%. You've always noticed things others don't. The change in someone's tone, the fake smile that doesn't reach their eyes, the heavy energy behind the charming words. You don't just listen to what people say, you feel what they mean. That's a gift, but it's also the reason people with hidden motives feel uncomfortable around you. You see through the mask. While most people get caught in appearances and with the pretty words, the perfect photos, the polished image, you go deeper. You read people like open books, not because you're trying to judge them, but because your spirit was trained by truth and betrayal. You've been through enough to know when something feels off, even if it looks perfect. That's why narcissists can't stand you. They thrive in shallow waters. They love to put on a show, wear masks, play roles. They pretend to care, pretend to love, pretend to help. But it's all for control. Most people fall for it. But you stand there calm and quiet, seeing everything they try to hide. They feel exposed around you, and for someone who lives behind a mask, that's terrifying. You don't need them to mess up to know who they are. You already sensed the truth. You don't need to catch them in a lie. You can feel the energy behind their words. Your intuition is too strong. Your energy is too clear. Your presence is too pure. That's why they avoid you, or try to silence you, or call you too sensitive, too serious, too much. But it's not that you're too much, and it's that they can't hide when you're around. Chosen ones carry light, and light exposes shadows. It's not your job to fix them. It's not your job to fight them. Just keep being real. Keep standing in truth. Because every time you walk into a room, the masks start to slip, and the truth begins to speak. There's something about you that makes certain people deeply uncomfortable. And it's not because you've done anything wrong. It's because you unknowingly hold up a mirror to them. And what they see in that reflection hurts. You don't even have to speak. Just your presence, your energy, your truth. It shines a light on everything they're pretending to be. That's the mirror effect. You reflect back to them everything they're not: real, grounded, powerful. And it drives them crazy. You don't play roles, you don't chase validation, you don't perform to be liked. You walk into the world as your raw, authentic self, even with your flaws, even with your past. And that's the power they lack. They've built their image on performance, on masks, on controlling how others see them. So when someone like you shows up, whole, healed, unbothered, it shakes them to their core. You remind them of everything they gave up to fit in. Their truth, their soul, their peace. You remind them of the courage they never had, to face their wounds, to speak their mind, to walk away from fake love. They see in you the boldness they pretend to have, the strength they lie about, the self-respect they lost trying to impress others. And instead of being inspired by it, many of them react with jealousy, anger, or silent competition. Because the mirror doesn't lie. And when you reflect truth, it reveals their emptiness, their games, their shallow confidence. And most people aren't ready to see that. They've spent years hiding from themselves, building a false identity based on attention, praise, and control. Your authenticity shatters the illusion. It exposes the weakness behind their ego. And that's something they can't handle. They'll try to tear you down, make you doubt yourself, question your worth. They'll mock your growth, minimize your story, and act like they're above you. But it's all defense. A desperate attempt to avoid looking in the mirror you hold up without even trying. Your presence says you can't fake real, and they know it. You walk in quiet confidence. You speak with purpose. You don't beg to belong, and that triggers something deep inside them. They hate that they can't shake you. They hate that your peace is untouchable, that your energy is clean, that your light is real, and most of all, they hate that their games don't work on you. You are the reminder of what they could have become if they chose healing over ego, if they chose truth over image, if they chose growth over control. That's the mirror effect. You don't attack, you don't compete, you just are. And that alone,
to be loved or accepted, but not you. You're different. You see through it. You feel when something's off. And you don't let sweet words cover up toxic behavior. That's what triggers them. You don't fall for the praise. You don't change your values just to keep peace. You don't play their games. And most of all, you don't let anyone control your thoughts or emotions. That kind of strength makes narcissists nervous. It makes them feel small. When they try to confuse you with lies, you stay calm. When they try to guilt trip you, you walk away. When they try to win you back with fake love, you don't respond. This is what they fear the most, a person who cannot be controlled. You don't need their approval. You don't fear their silence. You don't beg for answers. You trust yourself. That kind of confidence, it's like holding up a mirror to them, and they hate what they see. They can't handle someone who doesn't react, doesn't chase, doesn't break. That's why they get angry, moody, or distant when you stop playing along. You being unbothered is their worst nightmare. It shows them that their tricks have no power over you. And once they lose control, they lose everything. That's why you trigger them without even trying, because your peace, your strength, and your freedom expose how fake their power really is. Giving 0 FKs doesn't mean you're cold, rude, or heartless. It doesn't mean you stop caring about everything or walk around with no emotions. No, it means something way deeper than that. Giving 0 FKs means you've stopped caring about the wrong things. You no longer waste energy worrying about what people think. You don't stress over who's talking behind your back. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not chasing fake love, fake friends, or fake praise. You've learned to save your energy for things that actually matter. That's not carelessness, that's clarity. You now focus on your peace, your growth, your healing. You care deeply about your purpose, your path, and the people who truly respect you. But when it comes to drama, guilt trips, lies, and manipulation, you give them nothing. Not a reaction, not your time, not your thoughts. 0 FKs. Given. But that's what makes you powerful. People often think giving 0 FKs means being wild or out of control, But real zero FKS energy is the opposite. It means you've become disciplined. You control your emotions instead of letting others control them. You're focused, your eyes are on your goals, not on gossip. And you're unshakable. No matter what someone says or does, they can't knock you off your path. Here's the truth. The more you grow, the less you care about nonsense. The more peace you create inside, the less noise you hear outside. That's the power of giving zero FKs. It's not about being hard, it's about being wise. You don't waste time proving yourself. You don't beg to be understood. You move in silence. You protect your energy like treasure. And that makes you a mystery to some, but a force to everyone. You're not careless, you're fearless, and that makes you unstoppable. There are two kinds of people in this world: those who let pain destroy them, and those who let pain transform them. You belong to the second group, the rare ones who rise from the ashes stronger than ever. While others drown in their trauma, you learned how to breathe underwater. That's what sets you apart. That's what makes you chosen. You've been through things that could have broken you completely. Maybe it was betrayal, loss, abuse, rejection, or being constantly misunderstood. Maybe you spent years walking with wounds no one could see. Nights crying in silence, days pretending to be okay. But even in your darkest moments, there was a small spark inside you, a whisper that said, "Don't give up." That spark was your soul remembering who you are. Your pain didn't crush you, it carved you, it shaped your strength, it made you wise, sharp, and sensitive all at once. Where others see just suffering, you found lessons. You used your wounds as wisdom. You didn't just survive, you evolved, and here's the shift. You didn't stay stuck in your trauma story, you stepped out of it. You didn't let it define you, you let it refine you. The world doesn't know what to do with someone like you. They can't figure out how you're still standing, smiling, creating and thriving after everything you've faced. But that's the mystery of transcendence. You didn't fight your pain with bitterness. You met it with courage. You didn't bury your emotions, you processed them. You felt every wave and still refused to drown. You became your own healer. Now your scars are not something to hide. They're proof that you've walked through fire and came out gold. You don't react the same way anymore because you've already battled your biggest demons. You've faced your shadows, and now they don't scare you. You hold a quiet power, the kind that comes from knowing